right, so there he was, a big, bold man, Socrates. And another man approaches Socrates with his young son. And he pleads with Socrates to take his son as his apprentice. In front of him. Is it loud? So he pleads with Socrates to take his son as his apprentice and to teach his son everything that Socrates knew. Socrates, he thought for a moment, and he agreed. And he told the young man to return to Socrates' garden, the gate of his garden, the next morning at 7 a.m. So the next morning at 7 a.m., Socrates is waiting at the front gate of his beautiful gardens. And 7 o'clock comes and goes. 7:15 comes and goes. And around 7:20, the young man lazily walks up to the front gates of the garden. And Socrates takes the young man and they start to walk through the garden, and Socrates is expounding to this young man all the fundamentals of life and the universe and everything in between. And it became evident to Socrates that this young man didn't have much of a desire to be there and to learn from Socrates. So they approached this beautiful fountain and this pool of water. And Socrates, he grabs the head of this young man and he puts it under the water. And he holds that poor kid's head under that water just until the moment where that poor young man is about ready to give up his struggle. And he pulls his head out of the water, and that young man took the deepest breath that his young lungs had ever taken. And when his eyes had cleared, Socrates looked into his soul and said, "When you desire to learn just as much as you desire to breathe, come back and I'll teach you everything I know." So, that story, economic development. I don't have much to teach you about economic development, so you've come to the wrong place to learn from me about economic development. But I truly believe that economic development is a lot like learning. It's out there. It's present. It's all around us. But the quality and the quantity of economic development that we attain, I believe, is in direct correlation with our desire and our efforts to attain it. Thank you very much to the city of Pleasant Grove, not just for this event, but as everybody has said, this city is special. It is a great place to be. I don't live here, but I probably spend more hours here and more time thinking about this city than I do any other place. It's a special city, and thank you. Thank you to doTERRA, not just for hosting this event, but when we first stumbled across Pleasant Grove, doTERRA was one of the first things we took notice of. It was one of many factors, but a major factor in helping us come to the investment decision that we did. I don't know whether we would have made the same decision if they hadn't been here, but I can tell you who they are and what they do and what they have here is a magnet to the city of Pleasant Grove. And I'm sure they know that. I hope they know that. So thank you. And I want to say thank you to all of you, because without you, I have no job and I have no industry. I'm going to cast on you maybe an unfair judgment. You know, as a real estate developer, we often get accused of being evil and greedy, which there might be a little bit of truth to that. But I'm going to cast some judgment on you. I'm still waiting for Hollywood to make a movie about the good real estate developer and all the philanthropy and all the good we do. They always seem to cast the real estate developer as the evil, greedy guy. But anyways, back to you. Thank you, because I'm going to make an assumption and a judgment about each of you. I'm going to guess you woke up this morning, just like you probably wake up every other morning, and you came here to advance your personal economic development. That's why we go to work. We get up in the morning, we want to be productive, and a lot of times the driving force of that is to make our economic development, our personal economic development, a little bit better. So if it weren't for you and your industries and your businesses and your jobs as a provider of real estate, I have no job. I pray every morning that you still wake up that morning and decide to go to work to run your business and create profits and employ people and pay taxes, because if it weren't for you, I don't have a job. So a little bit, I got some cards. I've got some data I want to share, and that's why I've got some cards so I don't mess it up. But my name's Daniel Thomas. I'm a regional partner with a company called St. John Properties. I don't think we're known here in Utah, and that's okay. We're not known yet. I have very little that qualifies me to be on this stage and share some time with this group, but I have an undergraduate degree in real estate finance and a graduate degree in real estate development from Johns Hopkins. I'm a past adjunct professor of real estate and economic development at Johns Hopkins and also the University of Baltimore. For 3 years, I served as the chairman of the Real Estate and Economic Development Advisory Board to the University of Baltimore. And I may be in the wrong county to admit this, but I'm an adjunct professor up at the University of Utah in their graduate real estate program. So, economic development, St. John Properties. I was asked to share a little bit about who we are, what we do, and to provide a little bit of perspective on how a real estate developer approaches economic development. So St. John Properties, small privately held real estate development and investment company, straddled across the United States, portfolio of about 18 million square feet of suburban office, retail, and light industrial space. Portfolio is valued a little bit over $2.5 billion. Been in business for about 45 years. This is what we do professionally. This is unfortunately all I know how to do. I've given up learning how to do anything else so that I could try to learn how to be a real estate developer. So this is what we do professionally. So why Pleasant Grove? What is St. John Properties doing in Pleasant Grove? Why are we here? What are we doing here? And why? So just a quick history. We decided about 2 years ago as a company to try to find a new regional presence for our company. So Edward St. John, the founder and owner who started this enterprise 45 years ago, looked at me and he said, "Daniel, go find us a new market." So I opened up a map and I looked at a couple states. I looked at Hawaii. There was a lot of reason to go to Hawaii. We looked at a lot of places. And I'm not going to labor on this too much, but there is so much right about what is happening in Utah that it very, very quickly rose to the top of our list of places we needed to have a presence. So we're a long-term investor. We try not to sell anything. And for all the real estate brokers in there, I apologize, but we like to build it. We like to have you lease it 15 times over in the life of the building. But we looked at Utah and we said, this is a great regulatory environment. And by golly, this is a state that actually appreciates business. They appreciate a developer's perspective on economic development. So I moved my family of 4 children to the state of Utah, and with no projects in mind. My boss told me, he said, you take a year, and you try to figure out that state, and then bring us a project. It wasn't more than about 4 or 5 months after I had moved here that Mr. Brandon Fugel said, you've got to come down and look at this opportunity in Pleasant Grove. So we did. We came down and we looked at it and went through the standard process of evaluating it from an investment standpoint. And we saw a lot of opportunity. Now, with every opportunity, there's challenges. If there weren't challenges, somebody else would do it. I pride myself on being able to fix those challenges, and that's why I have a job. So we took on this amazing project. It's called Valley Grove. Get used to that name. I want you to hear that for the next 40 years. Valley Grove. The front door to Pleasant Grove. So we went and we bought 65 acres, and we said, we just want to start building. I apologize for the dust. That's ours. It's been flying around the valley. We went to work immediately building. We are $35 million of cash into Pleasant Grove because we see the vision. We see what Pleasant Grove can be, but it's got to start somewhere. So Valley Grove, 65 acres. It's in its infancy state. We really don't know what she wants to be when she grows up. Yeah, we're going to figure that out. We've got plans. We think we'll have about 1 million square feet of office and retail space and some hospitality space. We're forecasting a value of about $250 million. That's what we are trying to bring to Pleasant Grove. An investment of $250 million. So I want to share, I don't want to get into too much detail about what we're actually building. I'm going to leave that up to Brandon in his presentation. But I want to talk a little bit about a real estate developer's approach to economic development. And I'm going to do it with some data. Some real data that we are going through right now. And I'm going to do it through the lens of a quote. This was a quote that my boss, Edward St. John, said years ago, and it's always stuck with me. And I think this quote is emblematic of the partnership between a developer and a municipality and economic development. And this quote, pay attention to, I'm going to take you back to Ms. Branham's 4th grade English class. In this quote, there's cause and effect. So as you remember, there's a cause, and because of that cause, you have effects. So this is the quote. See if you can pull out the cause and the effect. So Ed said, my work and investment provides places for companies to operate businesses, generate profits, employ people, and pay taxes. So I'm going to break that down. There's cause and effect in there, and I'm going to apply some data related to Valley Grove in this exact sequence. So he says, my work and investment. So let's talk about what St. John Properties is investing in Pleasant Grove, in Valley Grove. As I said, we've got about $35 million of cash into the project right now. At some point, we'll put some financing on that. Over the life of the project, we're estimating putting about $250 million of value, of our money, of cash and financing, our credit. We're going to be putting that into Pleasant Grove. That's our contribution. Financially, and then there's the resources, 45 years of good practice and a portfolio of 18 million square feet. We'd like to think we know what we're doing. We tell ourselves that every day. But we're going to bring that knowledge and that resource to Pleasant Grove. So that's what we're doing. That's our work and investment. Now these are the effects. These are great effects. This is what our work and investment does. We provide places for companies to run businesses. So Valley Grove, upon completion, we're anticipating about 1 million square feet of office and retail space and hospitality space, restaurants and food services and financial institutions. And we don't know exactly what it's going to be, but I believe somewhere in that 1 million square feet of space, there will be a couple companies operating businesses. What a wonderful thing. That's good for all of us. They pay me rent. We like that. That's why we do this. So our work and investment provides places for companies to do business. It also provides places for companies to generate profits. This is important, right? Your theaters, you do this for a profit? doTERRA, you do this for a profit? This is great stuff. This is why we do this. So when we build something and invest, these companies come into that place, and guess what? They better generate a profit because they have to pay me rent, but they generate profits. So I did some, and these are forecasts, so don't you can quote them if you want, but I won't admit it. But so these are some forecasts based on just some general rules of thumb in our industry. So in the 1,000,000 square feet we build, we're going to forecast that every single year, out of that 1,000,000 square feet, those companies will generate about annually $425 million of gross revenue. They have to do that in order to substantiate our $250 million investment. Using another rule of thumb, that boils down to about $42 million every year of profit that we forecast will be coming out of that project, out of Valley Grove. That's great. Profits. They then spend it. That's what we love about profits. It usually gets spent on things. The third effect of our work and our investment, this is all economic development. Those businesses employ people. They employ you and me. They provide us an opportunity to be productive. So in that 1,000,000 square feet, you can anticipate 5,000 to 6,000 employees occupying that space, earning an income and spending that somewhere. And last, these businesses pay taxes. I have a goal. I want to be the largest taxpayer in Pleasant Grove. doTERRA and I can have a race. I want to be the largest taxpayer in Pleasant Grove. Not because I'm being taxed higher than my competitor, but the more value I create, the more tax I get to pay. And that's a wonderful thing. Again, these are estimates and forecasts. 1,000,000 square feet, $250 million investment, estimated annual property and sales tax greater than about $10 million a year. That's just a ballpark number. You take that out over the life of the project, we're looking at somewhere around $750 million of tax. My work and my investment creates places for companies to do business, make profits, employ people, and pay taxes. That's a developer's perspective on economic development. I need to save some time for Mr. Fugel, but I want to just wrap this up with a quick game. I conducted a survey and came up with what I thought was an incredible statistic that I hadn't been aware of. So I need 3 people to just stand up really quickly. There's 3 people in their seat, 3 volunteers. There's a prize. Diana, stand up. All right, Sid's up.
Did you say prize?
There is a prize. In fact, I've got it right here. I need one more pair of custom-made St. John Properties cufflinks. I know Oren would look great in these.
With his Hawaiian shirt.
With his Hawaiian shirt. Okay, so I was curious, and there's nothing scientific about this. I'm not a professional surveyor, but just made some phone calls, tried to put some numbers on a page, gathered some information. I wanted to know, in our short life here in Pleasant Grove, for the last year and a half, how many people had touched our project, not in an emotional or spiritual way, but been a part of the creation or development, played some role in that project. I wanted to know what our investment, how many people it was touching. And in most cases, those people were providing a service or a product that we were paying for. So they were waking up in the morning to serve me, right? I love that thought. Okay, so here's the game and the question. We'll do this quickly. You're each going to guess a number. The person closest to the number wins the cufflinks. Okay, so how many people do you think in the year and a half have touched Valley Grove? Sid.
I've got our finance director. My consultant. 500.
500, good number. Diana,
Way higher.
go.
I'd say 1,500.
1,500. Mike, right? What's your guess, Mike?
1501.
Oh, he's more competitive than I am. It's shocking.
It's like the Price is Right. You can't go over. All right, so you're going to sign my waiver, but I'm going to throw these back to you, Mike. If you're injured in this act, I apologize, but there we go. Left-handed. The number, and you guys were really close. The number was 1,632. I am clapping because, as I said, it's you. I literally mean that. If you didn't wake up in the morning to improve your personal economic development, I would not have a job. Thank you.